Hey, it's Scott, ROCKFILE, back with another podcast for your ears. A discussion, this will be a bonus podcast, of this year's Metal and Rock Grammy nominations. I'll start by saying I really don't expect anything different. They've never gotten it right. There are times over the years that the appropriate bands, in my opinion, got the best rock or best metal awards, but there were so many times they didn't. Popularity contests or didn't. I really, over the years, have come to realize it's just there's so many people involved in voting on Grammys. Some of the people in some genres have no idea what to vote for in rock and metal or rap or country or whatever. But their votes are counted just the same as somebody who does know about those genres. That gives us a variety in like the Academy Awards, so you never know who's going to be Best Picture. But as far as people that are experts in one genre of music are not always experts in other genres of music. And before anybody says, well, I'm old and Scott doesn't get it, look, I've been in radio since the mid-'80s, rock radio almost the entire time. I have 2 internet radio stations that are targeted at playing nothing but new rock. I mean, literally, we carry on the rock station 50 currents a week, on the prog station 40 currents a week. I go really deep on new rock, on stuff that I think needs to be championed, new bands, up-and-coming stuff. I'm still playing a lot of new rock. I also run 6 AM and FM radio stations in Alaska. We have a rock station there that does play some new stuff. A lot of 70s, 80s, and 90s, and about 2-to-1 ratio. 70s, 80s, 90s, 2, and 1 21st century. So anyway, I have been in touch with what's come out, the changes and whatever, from the mid-'80s all the way up to 2022. I have a massive library. I'm a huge rock fan, and I've always been able to distance myself. If it's something I don't like, but it's still good. There are a lot of bands I play on the radio that I don't listen to at home, but I appreciate their place in the rock pantheon, where they've gotten to, and all that kind of stuff. But every year I look at the Grammy Awards and go, well, okay, a couple of these I could go yes, a couple of these I go no, and a couple of these I go, what were they thinking? So that was the catalyst for making this podcast today. I was at work, recording this at work, don't normally do that, and I saw these nominations, and I try and keep my social media positive, so I didn't post anything really negative, just that they completely don't understand the genres, but I hope Ozzy sweeps it. So to get specifically into what I'm talking about today, and I'm not talking about other genres because I'm not exactly an expert in some of those things. I program pop, country, urban, you name it. I've programmed just about every format out there, and I get it. I know what a good hit song is, but to say these top 5 country songs or these top 5 hip-hop songs or the best hip-hop songs that came out in the last year, I don't have a frame of reference for that. You know, I listen to what record labels send me. I listen to what I listen to in my private life. I'm kind of limited to that because that fills up a lot of my time. I have multiple rock stations. I listen to a lot of rock music. I am constantly inundated with, check out this new band, check out this new band, check out this new, I mean, literally hundreds of times a week. I get singles and albums. So I'm very well versed on what's out there and what's been playing on the rock stations, from satellite stations like SiriusXM to AM and FM stations to internet stations to Spotify, you name it. I do keep abreast of all of those charts and trends and all that kind of stuff. And I still have to look at the Grammy nominations and go, what? So for Best Metal Performance this year, you got Ghost, Call Me Little Sunshine. Ghost has always been in the metal category because of the content of the lyrics. They're a pretty dark band, even though the music doesn't sound metal at all. I would call them a psychedelic pop hard rock band. But Call Me Little Sunshine, in its tone, maybe I could see, yeah, okay, maybe metal. Should be in the rock categories, but okay. Megadeth will be back. A real metal band. They've never been anything else. That's one thing you can say about Dave Mustaine. They've been a metal band. They've never tried to be anything else. We'll be back. Not one of the singles yet off the new album. To be honest with you, I heard it because I've heard the whole album, but that one didn't stand out, so I'll have to go listen to it. Next up, Muse, Kill or Be Killed. I'm a big Muse fan. It took me seeing them live to be really blown away, but I've always liked their albums. Never in a million years would I put them in a metal category of any way, shape, or form. I don't understand who was thinking there. I don't care how heavy they get. Muse has never been metal. Rock, alternative, even progressive if you want. Never metal. Kill or Be Killed. I think I heard that song. I don't know. The new songs were okay, but It's like my consultant said, why don't we play some Muse on your rock station in Alaska? I'm like, we don't play any other Muse. Why would we start now? It's not that I have a problem with Muse. I just don't think many of our listeners have Muse in their music libraries at home. Also up for Best Metal Performance, Degradation Rules from Ozzy Osbourne featuring Tony Iommi. Yeah. I would put this a little more in the hard rock vein, but because it's Tony Iommi and Ozzy Osbourne from Black Sabbath, and it's one of the heavier songs on Ozzy's new album, I could see it being put in the metal performance category. Then you'll have Turnstile, Blackout. To be perfectly honest, a band that I think I'd heard their name before, but not even on my radar. I went and listened to both Blackout, which is nominated for metal and rock song, and I listened to Holiday, which was nominated for Best Rock Performance. Yeah. Anyway, they're not metal. I would call them pop punk, if anything. A little progressive, a little interesting. Not great. I know why neither of those songs have hit at rock radio in the United States. They're just not, they're more Green Day, honestly. Not that's a bad thing. I have nothing against Green Day, but they're borderline, not rock. Yeah, we could get into the whole pop punk as rock conversation. But in my career, Green Day and bands like that are some of the only bands that rock fans go, why does this rock station play those? And I tell this to consultants and record label people, and they all just blow my, what? Green Day came out as an alternative band. Rock didn't really play them a whole lot in the very beginning. A little bit, especially stations that were in markets that were up against alternative competition. Green Day eventually became big enough that rock stations continued to play them. It's variety. It's a different sound on the radio station than Disturbed, Godsmack, or Zeppelin, or whatever. But when I've been out and about with friends, when I've been in a bar, when I've been at a concert, and like Green Day or something, Blink-182 comes on, it's not the rock fans go, yeah! It's the girls and the kids, and I've just never. So anyway. So Turnstile, I think they're British. It seemed to be. That probably where the popularity comes in. Totally fits in with what they do over there. Why that got nominated here? Again, I think if you're nominated for a Grammy, that's kind of a mainstream award. You should be one of the best of that genre, one of the best of the year. Popularity should play into it, I guess, but it does. And how does a band that got no rock airplay this year get a metal or rock nomination? So moving on to rock performances, which is different than rock song or album or anything. Rock performance, okay. First up is Bryan Adams, So Happy It Hurts. Nothing against Bryan Adams, but did he have something out this year? Did rock stations play it? Again, I'm heavily into the rock industry. I get hundreds of emails about rock music every single day of my life. I did not know Bryan Adams even had anything out. Beck, Old Man. Rock stations play Loser, and that's about it. We've never considered Beck a rock artist. A lot of stations quit playing Loser a few years later. Some still play it. Best rock performance of the year? I could give you a long list. The Black Keys' Wild Child. Rock song. It's been on the soundtrack for several movies over the summer. It was over 2 different movies I saw in the theater, back to back. It was over the end credits. We still play it on my rock stations. It's different. It's more, pop, punk, rock. But it's a good rock song. Nominated for Best Rock Performance? Yeah, you hear it everywhere. That one makes sense. Brandi Carlile, Broken Horses. Okay. She's a critical darling. She's won a bunch of Grammys, been nominated for a bunch of Grammys. Best Rock Performance of the Year? No. Idols, Crawl. I had to look that up. No. Just not rock. Look, just because they bang on guitars and scream doesn't make it rock. We have quite a few, varieties of genre under those labels. And punk, maybe? Kind of pop. Patient number 9 from Ozzy Osbourne featuring Jeff Beck. Best rock performance? Yep. I could see that one winning easily. First of all, Jeff Beck working with Ozzy Osbourne. Whoever thought that would happen? Second of all, it's a good song. That even the long version of the song got lots of airplay since it came out because it's a good song. I have friends of mine who don't even like Ozzy, don't like that kind of music. I really like Patient Number 9. That's a good song. Really? Shocks me as much as it does anyone else, but I think it's a great song, and I think it's a great album. Rock song, best rock performance of the year, definitely one of them. Kudos. Good nomination there. Then Turnstile Holiday. See Turnstile Blackout. I don't understand why this band is even nominated. They're not bad. I went and looked on some of the comments on YouTube. Nobody can touch these guys. They're so bad. I'm like, do these people listen to other rock music? I get being a super fan of an up-and-coming band because they're a little different or whatever. But it's like people saying this is the greatest thing since sliced bread who have never tried bread before. You know? I look at some of those things and go, really? I've heard a billion bands in my life, or a million. A lot of them are really good. Most of them trying really hard. That band, they're trying hard. It's interesting. I would say they're probably more in the Red Hot Chili Peppers veins of stuff. Anyway, I'll listen to some more Turnstile. There's enough interesting there, but best rock performance of the year, not even close. So that brings us to rock song nominees. These were the only 3 categories that most people jumped on. If there are more rock things, I will get to that. But these are the top 3 that the media was posting this morning when I was thinking about this. So best rock song nominees of the year, Black Summer by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Chili Peppers have released 2 albums this year. One, Maximum Love in the spring, Black Summer Fit. Radio stations played the crap out of it. Then they released Return to the Dream Canteen. And that's kind of outtakes from the last album, and it's doing quite well as well. I would see, the current song, Tip of My Tongue, nominated as well. Chili Peppers are on fire. Really good music. Obviously, it's different, always has been, but it sounds good on the radio, and one of the best rock songs of the year? Absolutely. Turnstile Blackout, nominated for Best Metal Performance and Best Rock Song of the Year. It's neither. Brandi Carlile, Broken Horses, Best Rock Song and Best Rock Performance. How do you get nominated for both? I mean, I guess the song is so good and the performance is so good. I don't think she should be in either. Harmonia's Dream by the War on Drugs. Isn't that an alternative band? I'm not familiar with that song at all. Again, decades in rock radio. Currently in rock radio. Multiple stations. And last up for Best Rock Song nominees, Patient Number 9, Ozzy Osbourne featuring Jeff Beck. Just like Best Rock Performance? Yep, absolutely. When I reviewed the new Ozzy album, right before it came out, it sounds that Ozzy's more present, more here than anything he's done recently. That last album a couple years ago, 3 years ago, was great. But it was more him and Andrew Watt experimenting and coming out with some really interesting things. This was Ozzy going back to doing an Ozzy album. And it sounds like Ozzy, but it sounds like he's there. He's present. He's in the room. He wrote the lyrics. He's on it. Maybe he's not, but that's the way it comes out on the album. It's a little overcompressed. It's a little too much modern production. And I've been listening to it for months now, and that's the one thing I can say, that I put in something else that has a lot of dynamic range, and it just doesn't. It's just kind of solid all the way across. But with people like Mike McCready, Jeff Beck, Tony Iommi, Zakk Wylde, there's a lot of guitarists on this band, on this album, that give it its overall rock sound. And Ozzy, like I said, sounds fantastic. So they could have nominated more. Degradation Rules is not, that was the metal performance. That pretty much is the metal song on the album. But Patient Number 9, man, that was one of the biggest rock songs of the year, easily. Now, how about Jelly Roll, or a few others? Jelly Roll, in the first 6 months of the year, was the most played rock song on rock stations, period. Now, I know he's country and other genres, as Brandi Carlile and a few of these others, but how come he didn't get a nomination? Or a few others. There have been some rock songs that just, the new Godsmack, a little early. I guess these are 2021 for the most part. But that's going to get a nomination because it's just good, straight-up rock. Again, this is another year that the Grammy Awards just prove they need to adjust things. You know, we're talking about political voting and how we need to adjust things there. How about voting on these kind of things? Can we get some rock people and metal people to vote on the Rock and Metal Awards to get some actual rock and metal things in there? Because I get the feeling that the same people that are voting on these rock awards are the same people that put out these bands that are not rock at these giant record labels. There is a huge record label out there who's made it large in country, and they're starting to put out rock acts, and they're not rock. They're just not. They're very popular, and they're very pop sounding, but they're not rock bands. And then we got all these boy band sounding songs that are on Spotify that are trying to make it into rock radio. So I get why it was difficult to find the top rock tracks of the year, but I can literally go into my system and pull up the rock songs we played, look at the most played, and only a couple of those songs, like the Black Keys, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Ozzy, will be in there because those were the songs that really gained traction with the public. Now, I would love if the Grammy Awards were only given out to the best songs of the year, but who's going to decide that really? These are all supposed to be music experts that vote on these, so show me their expertise in some of these things they consider rock. I would love to get into a discussion with somebody that can defend a couple of these, but I'm telling you, as someone who's in the industry, a lot of these songs are not rock songs, or not considered rock songs by our industry. So who else is going to say that? Scott Hamilton, I'm ROCKFILE. This was a little discussion about the Grammy Awards. Will I still follow them and look who wins? Sure. I mean, I do every year. I was happy, back in the day that Toto 4 won 7 Grammy Awards, or Jethro Tull won a Grammy even though Metallica should have got it. I have followed the awards, and it's part of what we do here in radio, follow award shows and stuff. But does it make a difference? Is it going to make me run out and buy a Brandi Carlile Turnstile album tomorrow? No, probably not. To pick up that Ozzy album, it's not going to be around much longer. Be happy we have a good Ozzy album there. Scott Hamilton, thanks again for listening. Have a spectacular day.